Anyways, we will continue about Pepsi, shall we? Walter Mack was named the new president of Pepsi Cola and guided the company through the 1940s.
Mack, who supported progressive causes, noticed that the company's strategy of using advertising for a general audience either ignored African Americans or used ethnic stereotypes in portraying blacks.
Up until the 1940s, the full revenue potential of what was called the Negro market was largely ignored by white-owned manufacturers in the U.S. Mack realized that blacks were an untapped niche market and that Pepsi stood to gain market share by targeting its advertising directly towards them.
To this end, he hired Henry Smith, an advertising executive from the Negro newspaper field, to lead an all-black sales team, which had to be cut due to the onset of World War II.
In 1947, Walter Mack resumed his efforts, hiring Edward F. Lloyd to lead a 12-man team.
Whoa!
They came up with advertising portraying black Americans in a positive light, such as one with a smiling mother holding a six-pack of Pepsi, while her son, a young Ron Brown, who grew up to be Secretary of Commerce, reaches up for one.
Another ad campaign, titled Leaders in Their Fields, profiled 20 prominent African Americans such as Nobel Peace Prize winner Ralph Bunche and photographer Gordon Parks. Lloyd also led a sales team, composed entirely of blacks around the country to promote Pepsi.
Racial segregation and Jim Crow laws were still in place throughout much of the U.S. Lloyd's team faced a great deal of discrimination as a result, from insults by Pepsi co-workers to threats by the Ku Klux Klan.
On the other hand, it was able to use its anti-racism stance as a selling point, attacking Coke's reluctance to hire blacks and support by the chairman of the Coca-Cola Company for segregationist governor of Georgia Herman Talmadge.
As a result, Pepsi's market share as compared to Coca-Cola shot up dramatically in the 1950s, with African American soft drink consumers 3 times more likely to purchase Pepsi over Coke.
After the sales team visited Chicago, Pepsi's share in the city overtook that of Coke for the first time. Journalist Stephanie Catrell interviewed 6 men who were on the team in the late 1940s.
The team members had a grueling schedule, working 7 days a week, morning and night, for weeks on end.
They visited toddlers, churches, ladies' groups, schools, college campuses, incas, community centers, insurance conventions, teacher and doctor conferences, and various civic organizations.
They got famous jazzmen such as Duke Ellington and Lionel Hampton to promote Pepsi from the stage.
No group was too small or too large to target for a promotion. Pepsi advertisements avoided the stereotypical images common in the major media that depicted Aunt Jemima's and Uncle Ben's, whose role was to draw a smile from white customers.
Instead, it portrayed black customers as self-confident middle-class citizens who showed very good taste in their soft drinks.
They were economical too, as Pepsi bottles were twice the size. This focus on the market for black people caused some consternation within the company and among its affiliates.
It did not want to seem focused on black customers, for fear white customers would be pushed away.
In a national meeting, Mack tried to assuage the 500 toddlers in attendance by pandering to them, saying, "We don't want it to become known as a nigger drink."
Whoa!
After Mack left the company in 1950, support for the black sales team faded and it was cut.
Lloyd was replaced in 1952 by Harvey C. Russell, who was notable for his marketing campaigns towards black youth in New Orleans.
These campaigns, held at locales attended largely by black children, would encourage children to collect Pepsi bottle caps, which they could then exchange for rewards.
One example is Pepsi's 1954 Pepsi Day at the Beach event, where New Orleans children could ride rides at an amusement park in exchange for Pepsi bottle caps.
By the end of the event, 125,000 bottle caps been collected.
According to the Pepsi Cola World, the New Orleans campaign was a success. Once people's supply of bottle caps ran out, the only way they could get more was to buy more Pepsi. According to Consumer Reports, in the 1970s, the rivalry continued to heat up the market.
Pepsi conducted blind taste tests in stores in what was called the Pepsi Challenge.
These tests suggested that more consumers preferred the taste of Pepsi to Coca-Cola.
The sales of Pepsi started to climb, and Pepsi kicked off the challenge across the nation.
This became known as the Cola Wars. In 1985, the Coca-Cola Company, amid much publicity, changed its formula.
The theory has been advanced that New Coke, as the reformulated drink came to be known, was invented specifically in response to the Pepsi Challenge.
However, a consumer backlash led to Coca-Cola quickly reintroducing the original formula as Coca-Cola Classic. In 1989, Billy Joel mentioned the rivalry between the two companies in the song "We Didn't Start the Fire."
The line, Rock and Roller Cola Wars, refers to Pepsi and Coke's usage of various musicians in advertising campaigns.
Coke used Paula Abdul, while Pepsi used Michael Jackson.
Both companies have competed to get other musicians to advertise its beverages.
According to Beverage Digest 2008 report on carbonated soft drinks, PepsiCo's U.S. market share is 30.8%, while the Coca-Cola Company's is 42.7%.
Coca-Cola outsells Pepsi in most parts of the U.S., notable exceptions being Central Appalachia, North Dakota, and Utah.
In the city of Buffalo, New York, Pepsi outsells Coca-Cola by a 2-to-1 margin. Overall, Coca-Cola continues to outsell Pepsi in almost all areas of the world.
However, exceptions include Oman, India, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, the Dominican Republic, Guatemala, the Canadian provinces of Quebec, Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island, and Northern Ontario.
Pepsi had long been the drink of French Canadians, and it continues to hold its dominance by relying on local Quebecois celebrities, especially Claude Munier of La Petite Vie fame, to sell its product.
PepsiCo introduced the Quebec slogan, "Here, it's Pepsi, ici, c'est Pepsi," in response to Coca-Cola ads proclaiming, "Around the world, it's Coke, partout dans le monde, c'est Coke."
As of 2012, Pepsi is the third most popular carbonated drink in India, with a 15% market share, behind Sprite and Thumbs Up.
In comparison, Coca-Cola is the fourth most popular carbonated drink, occupying a mere 8.8% of the Indian market share.
By By most accounts, Coca-Cola was India's leading soft drink until 1977, when it left India because of the new foreign exchange laws, which mandated majority shareholding in companies to be held by Indian shareholders.
The Coca-Cola Company was unwilling to dilute its stake in its Indian union as required by the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, FERA, thus sharing its formula with an entity in which it did not have majority shareholding.
In 1988, PepsiCo gained entry to India by creating a joint venture with a Punjab government-owned Punjab Agro-Industrial Corporation, PAIC, and Voltas India Limited.
This joint venture marketed and sold Pepsi until 1991, when the use of foreign brands was allowed, and PepsiCo bought out its partners and ended the joint venture in 1994.
In 1993, the Coca-Cola Company returned in pursuance of India's liberalization policy. In Russia, Pepsi initially had a larger market share than Coke, but it was undercut once the Cold War ended.
In 1972, PepsiCo struck a barter agreement with the then government of the Soviet Union, in which PepsiCo was granted exportation and Western marketing rights to Stolic native vodka in exchange for importation and Soviet marketing of Pepsi.
This exchange led to Pepsi being the first foreign product sanctioned for sale in the Soviet Union. Reminiscent of the way that Coca-Cola became a cultural icon and its global spread spawned words like Coca-Colonization, Pepsi-Cola, and its relation to the Soviet system turned it into an icon.
In the early 1990s, the term Pepsi Stroika began appearing as a pun on Perestroika, the reform policy of the Soviet Union under Mikhail Gorbachev.
Critics viewed the policy as an attempt to usher in Western products in deals there with the old elites.
Pepsi, as one of the first American products in the Soviet Union, became a symbol of that relationship and the Soviet policy.
This was reflected in Russian author Victor Pelikan's book, Generation P. In 1992, following the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Coca-Cola was introduced to the Russian market.
As it came to be associated with a new system and Pepsi to the old, Coca-Cola rapidly captured a significant market share that might otherwise have required years to achieve.
By July 2005, Coca-Cola enjoyed a market share of 19.4%, followed by Pepsi with 13%. Pepsi was introduced in Romania in 1966, during the early liberalization policies of Nicolae Istu, opening up a factory at Kastan in 1967.
This was done as a barter agreement similar to the one in the USSR. However, Romanian wine would be sold in the United States instead.
The product quickly became popular, especially among young people, but due to the austerity measures imposed in the 1980s, the product became scarce and rare to find.
Starting from 1991, PepsiCo entered the new Romanian market economy and still maintains a bigger popularity than its competitor, Coca-Cola, introduced in Romania in 1992. Despite heavy competition during the 1990s, sometime between 2000 and 2005, Pepsi overtook Coca-Cola in sales in Romania.
Pepsi did not sell soft drinks in Israel until 1991.
Many Israelis and some American Jewish organizations attributed Pepsi's previous reluctance to expand operations in Israel to fears of an Arab boycott.
Pepsi, which has a large and lucrative business in the Arab world, denied that, saying that economic, rather than political, reasons kept it out of Israel. We will continue about Pepsi in final part.
So stay tuned.